YouTube. There we go.
We are Jeff, so well disciplined, Brent. We hit record on our backups before we did here.
Jeff, I don't know if you've noticed our layout for how we do this recording has changed.
It has.
Like we have over there in the corner, like there's a new recording button. Oh. And like some of the functioning is not that the people out there at YouTube care at all. Yeah.
Little upgrade.
I'm learn. If something goes wrong, folks, it's just because I'm learning what the new crap is that we have going on out
I hate upgrades. You know what I mean? Like God, how long ago was it? 6 months ago? I still have an upgrade here. I know this will upset people.
Yeah.
Apple guy here, but I still haven't updated to Ventura because like I use Logic for editing and all my plugins are going to not work. But when you update, it's cool. It sucks it's not good. It's not good.
Hey, Jeff, do me a favor. Again, YouTube folks aren't going to care about this. I'm learning about this right now. Click on that recording tab over there.
All right, let me see.
I hope that they haven't changed to do what that other company was that we were using when we first started.
Oh, it says uploading.
Yeah, but it also says, please ask everybody to stay in the studio until you're done.
Oh,
does that mean they've changed their thing? I hope not. I hope not. Anyway, because there's a reason we switched. Folks, we love StreamYard over here. We use StreamYard to talk and to come to you guys and to live stream our whole deal. And if they've changed to the way that a different company does, we may be looking for a new home.
Yeah, because there's a reason we changed. We used to do somewhere else. And I think my subscription finally expired there last February. Yeah.
Hey, it's been almost 2 minutes and you guys haven't talked Babylon 5. When are we going to talk about this show?
Can I be honest? I'm going to try to not talk about this one as much as possible. And not because, I do hate it, but not because I hate it. You know what I mean? This is going to be a tough one. This is going to be a tough one today.
Yeah. It should be an interesting deal. So I just want to point something out for the YouTube.
Yeah, I was going to ask about, you look like you were skiing in March.
Well, no.
In Florida?
No, we're at soccer fields in March in Florida. This is the time of year when baseball has started for us and soccer has started for us, and we're out at the fields all day long. And we live in Florida, and guess what? The sun is hot and it's bright.
And here I am, like pasty white, because I'm up in the Northwest. I haven't seen the sun. I don't know how long, right?
Yeah. So you guys see, I definitely have the raccoon eyes going on today. So fortunately, the podcast people won't ever have to deal with this, but you folks out there at YouTube.
It's not bad. Like, it's still your beautiful face.
Oh, I thank you. I appreciate that. I appreciate that. So, hey, Jeff, today we are talking about the episode Confessions and Lamentations. It's a very long title.
It is.
It's a very long title.
There have been a couple long ones.
It's a lot of syllables. So we're doing that. Jeff and I have just watched this episode for the very first time. Just watch it. It's been a day or so.
I think I watched it 2 days ago.
Yeah, and I had to watch this one in parts.
Really?
Yeah, like if you go watch my my Brent watches video,
you're like different shirts.
Well,
you've grown a beard.
No, I had to because I did have to record that in different parts. So if you notice, like there's different places where the lighting is just a little bit different. I did put on the same shirt every time I came up to record.
That's good.
But I had to record it in multiple parts just because I kept getting distracted or disturbed with other stuff going on. And anyway, not that the YouTube people are here. We're recording an episode. This is a podcast. This is how Jeff and I record a podcast. And what are we doing here, Jeff? Behind the scenes. This is the behind the scenes of how it works. All the outtakes. All the rabbit trails that we've already started on. Oh boy, this is gonna be a good one.
It's gonna be a lot.
Let me get a drink over here.
It's not a bad idea.
Hey, podcasting pro tip that Jeff doesn't follow, and that's okay. If you're recording and you have a drink, using a straw will keep the sound of the ice and everything from clattering into your microphone.
You know what else keeps it happening is hitting the mute button.
Yes.
Just hit the mute button and then say, so it's, yes, button discipline helps too.
Yes, but then you have to think about the button. Yeah. So
we used to have a cough button back when I did live broadcasts.
Yeah.
So like if you're going to cough or something, you had it was just a mute button that you had to hold down. And I got the discipline.
There you go.
I grew it.
There you go.
There's nothing worse than coughing live on the air and then have someone yell at you. Like for us, we have these on and we hear each other. When you're doing a live broadcast, there are sometimes 7 or 8 people yelling at you in this while you're talking.
While you're trying to like do a show.
Yeah. So the best is like, so I'm sitting here talking about, so I'll say, what an incredible matchup. So-and-so is unexpectedly won this match. That's going to make this happen. And in my head, we have go to commercial in 14. So then do this 10 and this week 8. And then blah,
how
blah,
do you
blah. So
concentrate on what how do you keep a flow of what you're saying with that?
You have to kind of preload what you're saying. You know what I mean? Like you think of what you're going to say and then just like have your mouth be on autopilot almost.
Wow.
Like your mouth is talking and then you have like a 7-second delay between your brain and your mouth.
That's a skill.
Yeah.
That's a skill. Wow. That's something.
Hey, it's been over 5 minutes. We should start talking about this episode. Jeez.
All right.
So, like I said, you guys are going to see all the behind the scenes outtakes. Jeff and I don't edit this video. You guys catch it in all its full glory, which either you're welcome or we're very sorry.
There's parts of this one that might show up if you or I decide to run for office in the future. Just...
Oh, fair enough. Good news. I have no plans to run for office.
Yeah, I did once. I did. And I'm never probably going to do it again.
That is not my forte with what we got going on here. Oh, hello. I have a visitor here in the room. Well, now you got to come say hi because now I've talked to people about you
We're
being
on YouTube. You gotta see this.
He's trying on new clothes. Hello. What's up?
There's Jude.
What's up, boy? This is the guy I talk about a lot. Okay. You look handsome and go away. I'm recording. That looks great. Where'd you get those shoes? Okay, cool.
Soccer, piano recitals. You're running them through the ringer.
Well, that one's baseball and piano recitals.
Oh,
the girl is soccer. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Wow. Sorry, YouTube. I totally have the on-air red light posted right outside the door, and he just completely ignored it and came.
I think children are immune to that, right?
They
Children
really
and pets just kind of.
They really are.
Yeah.
Do you remember a couple years ago that video of the guy who was like, he was like some doctor doing like a news drop, and like he's in his house and like the kids come busting in the doorway and he's like trying to like ignore them while something like the housekeeper's like coming in like trying to grab him, trying not to be noticed. And it's just all. Do you remember the video? You know what I'm talking about?
Oh yeah.
And I'm sitting there like if there's one thing I've learned with stuff like that. When that happens, embrace it.
Yeah. Lean in. But when that video happened though, and it's so appropriate for this video that this episode we're about to dive into, we didn't know how to do that stuff yet. You know what I mean? Like we didn't know how to do a broadcast from our house.
Right.
It was still pretty new because I was like early mid 2020. That was one of the first big like pandemic ha-has. There's the ones of like a guy getting up and being in his underwear. My favorite one was where someone had a picture hanging up of them like looking, like engaged. And then at some point, like the paper like slipped and then fell. And he was literally sitting back here in a like asleep. And I'm like, dude, got it. That's so good.
Oh, that's funny. That is funny. Hey, let's talk about an episode. God, we're 8 minutes into this thing, Jeff. We should do that. Let's go. We are going to talk about Confessions and Lamentations.
And the Lamentations of Conan. What is good in life? You know,
Jeff, I'm going to send you a message real quick.
Okay.
Sorry, YouTube. Hold on. Where is it? There it is.
I have to hit on a different thing to see those messages. There it is.
Alrighty.
Yeah. Let's
do it. Let's go.
See, not even everything is for YouTube. Okay, now I got.
Yeah, sorry, YouTube. That's there is a small private production meeting that we're like, hey.
Like, what about? All right. For those of you that are still with us.
We've lost we were like, unsubscribe.
All right, here we go.
It's my first time.
You're new here, aren't you?
First time.
Welcome to Babylon 5 for the first time. not a Star Trek podcast. My name is Jeff Akin, and I'm watching Babylon 5 for the first time.
And I'm Brent Allen, and I'm also watching Babylon 5 for the very first time. Jeff and I are two veteran Star Trek podcasters, each with our own Star Trek podcast, that we came together and said, hey, let's watch Babylon 5 for the first time and do that thing we do with Star Trek podcast, only let's do it to Babylon 5 and see what we can pull out of it.
And even though this is not a Star Trek podcast, like Brent said, we have Star Trek podcasts that are still out there. And actually, yours is coming up just a few more months, right? It's almost
mine.
done.
The main recording for Beam Me Up has completed. It completed towards the end of last year, and we are currently in the backlog of all the extra content. Like, we're releasing the extra content now that we did, and Matt and I still get together every once in a while and record an extra episode that we throw out there. But yeah, we're kind of in the downward slope of content, but it's out there. It's running right now.
We'll go check that out. Beam Me Up, a Star Trek podcast.
Definitely a Star Trek podcast. Yeah. It was fun. It was good. Kind of a similar situation, only I had seen Star Trek before and my other guy hadn't.
It was a really cool, and it's the last we'll say on it for people. It's a very cool take on how to watch an episode or a series for the first time.
Yeah, basically the idea was, how do you boil down over 800 plus hours of content into something that is manageable for somebody to dive in and see what the whole thing is really about.
And as we just proved in real time, Star Trek references are bound to show up, whether they're to our podcasts or to the franchise. So starting right now, we have the rule of 3. That means each one of us gets 3 references to Star Trek that we can make during this episode.
That's it. 3. One of those plays. No substitutions, exchanges, or refund.
I love that so much.
I'm so glad you had me look that up. That was great.
I love that so much.
Well, I want to share an email that we got from Patrick. Patrick visited our website at babylon5first.com. That's the number 5 and the word first.com. He says quite a bit in that email, so I'm going to boil down kind of this really cool part. He says, speaking of the DVD box sets, it's too bad that's not the medium you and Brent are using to watch the show. The season 1 box set has a special feature on the last disc that answers all your questions about a map for B5. It has an interactive special feature that visually locates each section of the station and describes its function. Thank you. At least it's out there somewhere. The 3rd episode for season 2 features an audio commentary from Bruce Boxleitner, Claudia Christian, and Jerry Doyle that's absolutely hysterical. You can tell they had a lot of fun making the show.
I dig it. We should go do that sometime, Jeff. I have to stay away from bonus features right now because bonus features are rarely spoiler free. So in general, I stay away from it, but I'm down for, I buy physical media just for the bonus features. If there's one thing I hate about the digital concept right now is you usually don't, I guess they're getting better about it, aren't they?
A little.
They're starting to get better about it. Yeah. But mostly you just don't get the same kind of extra content that you do on the disc.
We've got a lot, like a growing backlog of stuff. Like we've got special features on DVDs. Mm-hmm. There's bloopers that people have tried sharing with us.
Right.
There's the lurkers
guide or something. Yeah.
That people reference quite a bit. And I mean, gosh, that looks awesome. And then
there's a couple
autobiographies. Yeah. Becoming Superman and then Claudia Christian's as well.
Yeah.
That'd be cool.
Yeah.
Man. I want to give some quick recognition to one of our awesome regulars on YouTube, and we've shared some of her comments here before, but Missy Prime.
Missy.
Yeah.
What up?
Missy hit such a good one here recently, and it's a nice way to kind of kick off the show, I think, as well. This was her comment. Do not give spoilers. The less they know, the better their reactions will be. Keep in mind that telling the guys when one of their theories is right or wrong is a spoiler. No matter how much they speculate about the future, neither confirm nor deny.
There you go. Preach it, Missy. Preach it. Tell them all. Let them know. It's so true because it's a thing. Like when people go, oh, well, this just sets something up in the future. Then you're like, okay, well, now I got to look at it a little harder.
Yep.
Versus, because here's the thing, Jeff, and we haven't talked about this, but is it possible we're going to do Babylon 5 for the second time and go back through on probably a faster rewatch.
Right, maybe
Because
yeah,
especially with a show like this, there's got to be so much stuff that we missed the first time around that the second watch through where all of a sudden we're making those connections has got to be just as entertaining
totally
as the first one. You know what I mean? So I'm not committing us. This is a discussion I'll have to have offline, but Babylon 5 for the second time has got to be there, but like, don't rob us of that joy now. Yeah. And there is something to do with just the discovery. Like you swear to me, here's a great example, like right now where we are. You swear to me that they mentioned Zaha Doom back in like the third or fourth episode or something like that, and that they've mentioned it a few times. The second episode, and I think you're lying. I don't think that's true. I'll probably go back and rewatch it and be like, damn, Jeff was right. And then be like, oh my God, they mentioned it here. Like, I'll probably find that, but I missed it this time. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm sure there's a lot that we've lost.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
or missed.
Let us miss it, guys. It's okay. It's okay. Just laugh at us. And if you want to go talk to other people about us missing it, where can people do that, Jeff?
Well, they can click the link down in either the show notes or the episode description down below. And, I think that's the thing. We haven't really hyped that much, and we kind of weren't going to, but
yeah,
we do have a thing where you can, throw us a little bit of scratch, get on the Discord, join the red sector, and you can talk about whatever the heck you want.
Helps keep the show going.
Yeah. And meet some really cool people.
Yeah, they're awesome. That's really, we might be doing a disservice by not telling people about it.
That's a good way of looking at it, because we got some cool stuff on there.
We do.
We really do. That's all that I had to share for today.
Well, Jeff, you know how we like our games here. Along with the rule of 3, we also play another game at the end of the show where we like to guess what the next episode is going to be based on title alone. No descriptions, no thumbnails, nothing. Well, now is the part of the show where we look back on that game from last week where we predicted what this week's episode was going to be about. We got to pay the piper. Jeff, I still think we need some sort of a bet, something to sweeten the honey pot on this one. And because it would just make this so much better. Like, if you're wrong, you have to take it like it's a drinking game or something. I don't know what it is, but we got to figure that out. But Jeff, do you remember what you said last week? Confessions and Lamentations was going to be about, and how close did you get?
I do remember, and I object to the drinking game, because here's the thing, Brent. Your superpower on this show is like predicting the next. Like, you've got a pretty incredible bet. My superpower is remembering things, like recalling things that came up.
So true,
right? So I feel like I'm not gonna. We have a show to do. I'm not gonna get drunk. I will be drunk moments into the show. Every time, and you're gonna go back and see that they mention Zaha Doom in Revelations.
Okay, did you say so?
I'm pretty sure, if I remember right, I thought this was going to have something to do with Ivanova picking up like a higher stakes diplomatic mission of some kind, which I for a hot second I thought there might have been like some sort of, and then it took a sharp left turn in an entirely different direction. So, what about you? Do you remember what you thought it was going to be?
Well, Jeff, you just declared you're the one with the memory of the two of us. So what did I say it was going to be about?
I only remember the important things.
Was this one where I was just like, it'll be neither about Confessions or Lamentations?
Probably.
Yeah, it was something like that. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. There was no way to guess what this episode was.
I can tell you what. We were so very far off. So let's get right to it.
I legitimately don't remember. I really don't remember what I said. I should look that up next time.
A little bit of prep would be good.
Well,
But for those who know exactly what it was about, and they last week were yelling at us because we were so wrong, or for people who haven't watched for a while, or for people that just like to hear the sound of your voice, Brent, why don't you tell everybody what Confessions and Lamentations is about?
Well, on today's episode of Dr. Franklin is Always Right, we are talking about the Markab. Sorry, I just saw you just project. Whew. All right, sorry. Well, on today's episode of Dr. Franklin is Always Right, we're talking about the Markab. And while I'm sure everyone is going to tell me that they've been around since season 1, I swear to you that this is the first one that we saw since last week when Sheridan found. Nope, I'm gonna try that one again. And while I'm sure that everyone is gonna, oh my god. And while I'm sure that everyone is going to tell me that they've been around since season 1, I swear to you that the first time we ever saw Markab was last week when Sheridan found that dead body that grabbed his face. Well, since last episode, 4 more of these Markab have died. And the Markab doctor on the station, Dr. Lazarin, assures Dr. Franklin that they're all from natural causes. But Dr. Franklin isn't so sure. Oh, and what's that? Now an entire Markab transport is 10 hours overdue? Better go check that one out. Well, while they're flying out, let's go check in on Sheridan and Delenn for date number 2. For a traditional Minbari meal. And, well, Lanier is also there, totally third wheeling it big time. It's actually a pretty scene. Sorry, YouTube.
Sorry, Jeff, who has to cut all this together.
Oh my god.
It's fine. It's fine.
This to be fair, Jeff and I usually record late at night after everybody's in bed, and I was assured that we would be able to, by my lovely significant other, that they would keep people away.
YouTube, if this is your first time watching Babylon 5 for the first time, we are streamline operation all the time. So this is a special gift for you.
Right. My apologies. Where did I just leave off? Let's go back to this. All right, you ready?
Ready.
And while they're flying out looking for the Markab ship, let's go join Sheridan and Delenn for date number 2. For a traditional Minbari meal, and Lanier is totally third wheeling it big time. It's actually a pretty funny scene that I'm not really going to describe to you because you should just go watch it, but it vies for the B5 comedy crown with that one scene where Sinclair and Garibaldi were putting Ivanova to sleep that one time. Anyway, out in space, the Zeta Wing has found the Markab ship adrift. The computer reads 200 plus life forms, but no life signs. That's right. The whole ship is dead. Dead. Well, back on the station in Med Lab, Franklin notices something, but they're not going to tell us what just yet. About this time, Kefir and Zeta Wing have returned with the Markab ship in tow, and Sheridan goes to examine it, but on his way, he is blocked by Dr. Lazarin. Dr. Lazarin tries to claim sovereignty over the ship and request privacy, but that's when Franklin busts in with the big news. Ha ha! They've all died of a plague, and that plague has come to Babylon 5. Well, Lazarin tells us the story of the plague. Unfortunately, no awesome shadow puppets were used in this explanation. But Markab legend tells of a deadly plague that is 100% contagious and 100% deadly that infected an entire Markab sin planet. And it was, and still is, viewed as a divine judgment on the misdeeds of those heathen. To this day, the Markab parents still tell their kids the story to scare them into obedience. But other than that, they pretty much don't talk about it. But he's sure that this is what it is. And it's the Markab's God's judgment on the people. Franklin doesn't really care. He just has one question. Can this disease jump species? And the answer? Well, we don't know, which totally means it's going to, right? Well, Dr. Franklin is getting to work on discovering the pathology of the disease. And to do that, he has Dr. Lorenzen in ISO ward where he's studying the progression of the disease so he can hopefully find a cure. Meanwhile, the rest of the crew has got to deal with the rest of the folks on board the station as they discover that Sheridan has placed the entirety of Babylon 5 in quarantine, which means no one in and no one out, Markab or otherwise. Well, this isn't sitting well with too many folks, and it especially doesn't sit well with the Markab population as they see it as a direct insult on their integrity. Because after all, Only the immoral and the unjust have this disease visited upon them. And since they cannot be immoral or unjust, this disease will not be visited upon them, surely. Well, just then, Dr. Franklin discovers that the pathogen is in fact an airborne disease, and he is informed that the Pakmara have also been infected with it and have begun to die from this disease. See, I told you it was totally going to jump species. Well, the Markab, after taking so much offense at this, decide that their only thing that they can do is to isolate themselves on the station until they can leave and go home. Yeah, not really a good idea, since that's just going to make the disease spread even faster and could kill them all. Also, people, and by people, I mean humans, have taken to beating up random Markab around the station as retribution for getting them locked down and possibly infected. Delenn and Lanier decide that it's time to go into the isolation vault of the Markab to try to bring them some comfort, because that's what she does as a Minbari. All Sheridan wants, though, is for Delenn to call him John. Yeah, date number 3, definitely on the horizon. Well, down in the isolation vault, Delenn and Lanier are helping a young girl reconnect with her mother. But just as they come back together, the young girl begins to drop. And it's a sign that the disease is inside the vault. And this is not good. It's about that time that Dr. Franklin discovers exactly what the disease is, what it does, and how to cure it. And he rushes to the command staff. And then they rush to the vault. And Sheridan orders the door open, only to discover that every last Markab is dead. Only Delenn and Lanier are left standing. Delenn collapses into John's arms. But that's of little comfort, as the news reports the worst. The entire Markab civilization has been wiped out by the plague. And as people begin to make jokes, Dr. Franklin declares, nothing changes. Jeff, how did you feel about this heartwarming story?
Right, this was too much. This one.
This was made in 1994, 95.
Yeah.
And we're recording this in 2023, about a year or two post-COVID.
Ish. I mean, that depends on
and it's still around. Like,
Yeah.
that's the thing.
I'm wearing my shirt from 3 years ago. If you're listening to this, you can't see it, but on YouTube, you can see it. It's my Kiss. It's time to stay at home tour shirt. They canceled their tour, and those of us who had tickets got some merch and some stuff. So I have this tour shirt that says stay at home. This was what we thought Infection was going to be way back, right? Here's the sci-fi show about a plague that comes to a ship, but holy crud, they took this to a whole different level, because this wasn't like, oh, we're going to cure a disease. This was literally humanity sucks and is dumb and has this keep happening. This is so in 1 week from now, when this releases, it will be the 3rd year. It was March 12th of 2020 that I started working from home as a precaution.
Wow.
Right. But I'm still working from home. Yeah. I'm still there here.
Yeah.
Like this episode is a reflection of what happened to us in the past. It's a retelling of our present. And honestly, like it infuriates me that this is going to be our future as well. We're seeing the same thing. We're seeing that bartender making jokes about dead Markab. We're seeing that now. This episode, Brent, it pissed me off, right? Like, I'm mad that this keeps happening. This was probably meant at the time as like a commentary on the aggressive, willful ignorance of humanity on the plague, on the Spanish flu. Very timely for them at the time. AIDS, right?
There
AIDS
it
was
is.
Yep.
I think that I had that as a note. This is an AIDS commentary show.
Totally.
If that's what if this was Star Trek, this absolutely would be an AIDS commentary show.
But you know what we did? Do you know what we did during the AIDS? And AIDS is still a thing too.
Right.
But the first thing we did, we blamed the LGBTQ plus community. It's their fault. It's them. They made these choices that made these things happen. After we got past that, because people that weren't LGBTQ started getting it, then we started blaming the government, right? Just like 3 years ago. Well, first we blamed the Chinese. Then we started beating up the Markab. Wait, no, I mean people of Asian descent. We started literally
in the streets. Yeah.
Targeting them and attacking them. And once that still happens, but once that wasn't enough for people, they turned on the government. And then they turned on themselves and onto other parties. Through all of these like horrifying things that have happened to us, every single time we turn on each other. We never come together. We never try to do better. We always fight ourselves. I don't care if this alienates some people, but if you're one of the people who was like, well, I'm not going to wear a face mask because it's got CO2. You know what? You are the people in this episode, right? This is you, and this is happening now. And I hope you're mad at me, and I hope you're saying something, and I hope you've decided to not watch us anymore, because frankly, you're part of the problem. This episode made me so mad that I agree with Franklin's points. Franklin and I are aligned on this one, Brent, and he is the worst. But he was right.
He's the worst, and he was right.
And he was right.
Yeah.
What were your first reactions to this?
Yeah, I mean, so much of this for me was, holy crap, they're writing about COVID.
Yeah.
Because that's the most recent thing. And then I thought about it. I was like, no, in their day, it would have been AIDS. But while you talk, another thing, and this one didn't have anything to do with the disease. Shortly after 9/11 here in America, people were beating up anyone of Middle Eastern descent. They didn't even have to actually be of Middle Eastern descent. They just sort of had to have a brownish tone to their skin.
Right. Or be named Muhammad or anything, or want to go eat falafel, or something. And
Yeah. Honestly, I'm going to just respectfully disagree with you. I 100% agree with your ire and your emotion. I'm going to disagree with you. Those of you who may be of that side of going, I'm not going to wear a face mask. I had somebody just tweet at me the other day, like, oh, well, no vaccines is better than my body taking care of stuff. And, I looked at the person sitting next to me who was a physician, and that person just laughed. Like, yes, your body is very, very good, but your body with a vaccine is very different from your body without a vaccine. And it's there because science. And this is actually how stuff works. Anyway, for those of you out there who that might be your thing, I actually hope you keep listening, because I hope you learn and get some hope. Because here's the thing, and this is what I really appreciated. So I'm going to change my name on our little deal here. Our little screen that you can view on YouTube if you're listening to this later. I have written Dr. Franklin is the worst. I'm writing now, Dr. Franklin was right.
Yep.
For the record, I planned on doing this mid-show anyway, before you said that. But here's, in this particular case, I have railed on Dr. Franklin for not taking people's cultures and taking people's ideologies into consideration. It's always been my way or the highway. However, when you get into an emergent situation like this that is threatening the entirety of people's lives, I don't have time to deal with your effing ethical beliefs and with your personal, I want this and I don't want that, and wah. We got to get this thing under control, and we've got to get this thing under control now, before it kills everybody, before it kills every single person on this station. And Dr. Franklin was right. In this particular case, him looking at Lazarin and just going, I don't care about any of that. Can this jump species? What are we talking about here? What is the actual worst? And I had some real thoughts on Dr. Franklin speaking to his staff, yelling at them, you know, and he's going off on them because they're all like, oh my gosh, this could affect us. He's like, well, it's not going to do us any good. Let's get out there. I want answers, people. I want answers. It's going to take 10 minutes. You got 5. I need answers. And it's probably not the most effective way to lead. But what I really appreciated out of that on a leadership level and just in general is when his entire team was taking a gasp of air, he rallied them and he was their strength. And like, guys, we got to put our heads down and go and make this happen. And there is a certain piece where, hey, as a community, I grew up in the South. I believe in the individual rights of a person, and the government needs to stay out of my life. This is where I am. When it concerns everybody, that's where that stuff ends. And we have to come together as a collective whole. Jeff, I very much appreciated what you said.
Thank you.
When are we going to come together? I've often heard people comparing Babylon 5 to Star Trek, saying Star Trek is the idea of where we will get to. Babylon 5 is the idea of how we get there.
Mm-hmm.
This episode reminds me why we watch Star Trek. For the hope of what we can be, because I still believe in humanity. Folks out there, if you are a person who said, I'm not going to wear a face mask, I'm not going to get vaccinated, whatever, I still believe in you. I believe in us as a species. I believe that we can get there. And that's what I love Star Trek for. This has been a different deal. I understand that. And in the end, while Dr. Franklin did find the cure, guess what? It was too late. It was too late because people wouldn't listen. And they let their pride get in the way.
They were worried about what people would think of them.
Yeah.
What will they think of me? Well, they're not going to think anything if you're dead.
Yeah.
You know, and I think that's what gets me. We let little things like people, there's just this sense of you're taking something away from me, you know? And we saw that in the quarantine scene where people are like, no. That rang for me, right? Yeah. You know, and it's just, oh my God, I saw those things happen. I saw people doing that. And it's like, dude, literally, like, if I can, and this is, I don't want this, and well, it's going to be, so never mind. Like, I don't want this to be all about like how I would, you know, COVID and all this stuff, but here's the deal. If on March 12th or whatever, when I went home to work, if all the world's banks got together and they said, hey, you know what? This is a big deal. What we need to do is suspend all mortgage payments for 2 months. 2 months. And let people go home. Because you know why businesses died? Because they had to pay their mortgage, they had to pay their leases to pay a mortgage. Why people had to keep going to work and do stuff? Because they had to go get a job and get paid so they could pay their mortgage. Suspend those payments. Go home. 6 weeks. Go home. You know what? We might be in a very different place, but no, I'm a big bank. I got to make my money. Oh no, I'm an individual citizen who can make my own decisions for myself, even though it impacts every single person I come into contact with. Stop. Like, this isn't just about individuals. This is a fundamental societal problem where everyone's worried about me. What's in it for me? What am I going to lose? Instead of thinking about us, right? Yeah, you are an individual and you have your own rights and do your own thing. But the second it impacts anybody around you, you got to give it up. You have to have that ego surrender and understand that there's something bigger, right? And it's all of us together.
Well, yeah, and I mean, Jeff, with that though, and I mean, the inherent problem comes back to people will find anything they can to justify the thing that they want to do. And I think that's something we really saw play out during COVID and something we saw play out in this episode. When Dr. Franklin, who's just trying to fix this disease, and he's like, okay, we need to, when somebody becomes infected, I need to know when they're infected right away so that we can track the pathology of this disease. Oh, you can't tell people that. You can't, because that means that they haven't, that they're immoral. And that's what that's going to mean. Not just necessarily what it looks like, it's just what you're saying to that person. And, you know, they're not going to confess that. And so we're all going to take our ball and go home. And then we're going to go in this little thing. No, you shouldn't do that. Because of here's why. And people are like, well, that's not actually how the science works. And then they create their own science and then they get people that will echo whatever they want to have happen or to be said, to give them permission to do what they want to do. i.e., people who went out there and said face masks don't work because the thing's this tiny and whatever. And no matter how much people said, yeah, it is this tiny, but it lives on water droplets, which aren't that tiny. And those are the things that get caught, or when the vaccine came out and people were like, well, you're still going to get the disease. Yeah, because vaccines don't stop people from getting diseases. Vaccines teach your body how to fight the disease when it comes in contact with it. Right. And he even says this, he says, we've got to do something here before it begins to mutate, because even though it may just go to the Pockmartin now, it could mutate and spread to everybody else.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what you see in the course of disease is this is why you've got to get it under control. And, we as a society damn near wiped out polio and many other diseases. And people want to, well, how did it happen so fast? Because we've been working on the technology of the vaccine for 10 years before it ever became a thing. You know what they were working on it with, Jeff? AIDS. They were working on an AIDS vaccine.
Yep.
And somebody looked up and said, hey, this seems to kind of do a little bit the same thing. I wonder if we can take what we've been learning there and just apply it here. And you know what? They could.
Yeah, it worked.
And it worked. And you know what we now have? We have a better treatment for AIDS than we've ever had before. I'm not going to call it a cure, but I have heard reports of people, and I don't know, I haven't confirmed this independently, but I've heard reports who doctors have declared as cured from AIDS.
Yeah, it's not an automatic death sentence like it was now. I mean, it's not going to be great, but there are people with AIDS that are dying from things unrelated to AIDS, and that in the 80s, 90s, early aughts, that wasn't happening. But it is because of this work, right? Because of this science. And I think I really appreciated Babylon 5 as a storytelling device. And Dr. Franklin, I mean, just being who he is and all the things that we've derided him for forever worked in his favor.
That is what was needed for this time.
For this, yes.
For this time. Yeah.
Where it was, I'm not going to listen to your objections about this thing. I'm not going to, we are getting down to the brass tacks, right? To the bare bones science of this thing. I want to see these cells working with these cells and see what happens, right? Like the most atomic level he could get to, and would let nothing get in his way to do it. But what was amazing to me was how Dr. Lazarin was the same, right? Like as soon as he had the little, like, he grabbed his throat and he's like a little sore throat. And then he started, exhibiting the symptoms. He's like, quick, get me in there. Watch me. And he's dictating the thing all, like, he got it. He understood. And then, like, I mean, he was going to die anyway. And this goes to one of the Star Trek messages we talked about in an earlier episode. He was going to die no matter what, but he made sure people benefited from his death.
Yeah.
He gave it all and made sure that people benefited from it.
Yeah. Unlike the rest of the Markab population, which frankly buried their head in the sand, and they killed that cute little girl.
How messed up. Like the second that little kid showed up on the screen, I'm like, oh my God, they're going to kill another kid.
Yeah. They killed a kid. They killed
again. But they had to. You know what I mean? They had to make that make it have the impact that it did.
Yeah. Yeah. Jeff, we were talking about this a little bit before we came in. There's so little of this episode to discuss that isn't related to the larger message. You know what I mean? Like we can't separate these and get to a particular segment. I wouldn't do that. Let's just the whole dinner between Delenn and Sheridan was absolutely hilarious. Teeny tiny Space Forks, awesome. Those two are definitely getting together as a couple. Right?
Oh yeah,
because now it's John. All right.
I want to tie those just really quick. A few kind of things that we do in this part before we dive into things. That plot, the little I'm going to go and eat with a tiny fork thing, tied to the Dropha, the plague storyline as well.
I didn't pick up on this, so I'm very interested in what you're about to say.
So the meal that they had for the traditional Minbari meal was very much a Passover meal. So you're given a very specific way of preparing the meal. Praying in Passover, you pray over the ingredients. You tell certain stories at each bite in each course. You pray certain prayers. Like there's a very rigid formality to the Passover meal. when the ambassador takes all the Markab into the holding cell or the cargo bay or whatever it was, he actually says, "We believe the dark angel of Dropha will pass over us."
I did pick up on that.
So you had the actual Passover meal that was happening in, which again is another callback to Judaism, which again, Babylon 5 has treated the religion better than almost any other property I've ever seen. But you have the Passover meal and then the actual what Passover was about. The difference is this time it didn't work.
Well, it did because they didn't partake of the meal and put the blood over the lintel, but who did survive in that room?
The people who did participate in the wow, yeah, I didn't even do that math. That's great.
Yeah.
And I think in there when they were with in the cargo hold in there, and Delenn shared her story with the little girl about being found in the temple when she was lost as a girl. That's not the last time we're going to hear that story.
You don't think so?
I think that she had a vision. Of Valen. I'm going back to Valen again.
Okay.
Either that or it was a first one that came on and said basically, because I forget exactly what they said. What was it? I will not allow harm to come to my little ones here.
Yeah.
So there's going to be something in a Minbari temple of some form of safety at some point, but I think it's going to tie back to Valen somehow, just because why not? Valen's the drum I beat all the time.
Right. I just want to point this out. We learned this. Sheridan's a lefty pride. Shout out to my fellow left-handed people.
It was also very much like when they're going over the rules on stuff. It reminded me of SpongeBob, right? So they're like, eat a bite with the right hand. Don't forget it. When he's doing the bubble wand, stop on the right foot. Don't forget it.
Yeah. I literally wrote this note down because this all happened before everything got going with this episode. I said, how in the world do you ever have a fat Minbari?
Yes, seriously.
In
fact,
it's the best meal plan ever.
Let's start marketing it right now, right? The Babylon 5, for the first time, guaranteed way to lose weight. Eat like a Minbari.
That's our t-shirt. Eat like a Minbari. And then you have a picture like a silhouette of just a teeny tiny space fork.
And me in the background crying. Just like,
right.
So hungry.
Right. Jeff, we've certainly lightened this. I got to be honest, when they first started doing the whole Markab disease thing, you know what I thought it was? I thought it was their version of the Ponfar.
Really?
And then it wasn't. Yeah. That was where my mind first went, because I wasn't thinking, no, we're going into a legit disease that is marking of world events that we've had happen here over history.
Yeah. That's the thing I appreciated. I'll say this so we can pivot into the deeper discussion, because it wasn't just the AIDS episode, right? They went back and they painted this picture of history, of human history time and again. And then they painted it across all races. So it was just excellent story.
The idea that I'm going to save that for when we get to the next section. Are we ready, Jeff?
I think we're
Let's
ready.
do it, because I think this is what this episode is really about. So with that, Jeff, it's time to, after having gone through all our standout moments and our goofs and our laughs and all that sort of stuff. Oh, by the way, did you notice the camera in Kefir's helmet?
No.
You could see the reflection of the camera in Kefir's helmet when he said it. Anyway,
smooth.
After all that, it is time to boil this show down and see if it has any of that Star Trek-y quality. Does it give us a deep moral message? Yeah. Is it holding up a mirror to society? Abso-friggin-lutely. Is it giving us hope that it's going to be better in the future? No way. So let's talk about this part. This will be a lengthy discussion-ish, maybe not. I don't know. And then at the end, I'm actually going to rate this episode on a scale of 0 to 5 deltas as far as how Star Trek it is. And you're going to do 0 to 5 Star Furies, how Babylon 5 this show is.
Let's do it.
So what I was just about to say, the two pieces that got me were to something that goes back to what you were saying earlier, the idea that we keep doing this to ourselves. The example that I think it was Dr. Franklin who was talking about the Black Plague, the Black Death. And he said the disease was being spread through rats and the fleas on the rats. The ironic thing is that people thought that it was from the devil. And since cats were thought to be the familiar of the devil, they killed thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of cats. And the irony of that being that those cats actually would have been the thing that stopped the disease. Right?
Mm-hmm.
We did it to ourselves because of our faith. I can't tell you what happened during the Spanish flu, but I can dang sure tell you what happened during COVID. And the COVID thing was we did it to ourselves. People, and I'm not just looking at Americans, I'm looking at all y'all out there around the rest of the world because it was everywhere. You know, first of all, I don't know how the disease got released into the public, right? But somebody released a disease into the public, right? Accident or on purpose, I don't care how it came out and it got released. But then people decided not to do the basic things that needed to be done to stop a disease because they had to go to work, because they had rent to pay, because they had mortgages, because American businesses don't give people days off sometimes, right? And then people got up in arms because they didn't want to wear a mask. And then when we got, by the way, it was, think of who was in current administration when the disease was, or when the vaccine was developed. It was only distributed by a different administration and people politicized it. That's what happened. People politicized it. Let's call it what it was. And then they tried to put their faith to it and say something of that nature. And then they tried to rewrite science and all this sort of stuff. It was political. That's really, it was political and just, I don't want to. And that thing blew up in our faces. Pretty hardcore.
Yeah.
And, but they do it based on we did it to ourselves. And then we look at the Markab in this episode. Those Markab would not have died like that en masse if they had stayed out of that room like Dr. Franklin had said. But they insisted on going in that room because that's what they thought they should do, because of their pride and the way that their faith or their history or their culture teaches, and it wiped them out. When we had the cure.
Right there.
It was right there.
I mean, minutes.
Yeah.
Well, maybe a little less than minutes, but I mean, it was a heartbeat away.
This is not an anti-faith talk. I am a person of faith. Jeff, you're a person of faith.
I am.
This is a human talk. This is a be smart talk. This is a think of people other than yourselves talk. Be a part of society talk.
There was, if I can kind of add that on to paint a better picture of the faith side of things as well, and maybe add to what you're saying, but there was a Catholic priest who did this incredibly powerful interview early in the days of COVID, where he said that this is a virus and it's a disease that's impacting people, but the real disease is the culture of me that pervades our society. As a whole, our society is concerned about what happens to me, regardless of what happens to the we. And what has to happen to beat this disease is we have to flip our culture on its head, and we have to think of others instead of thinking of ourselves. And that's, part of what I talked about in the Star Trek message. I think it was last week, where you have to, or a couple weeks ago, when Sheridan and Kosh first started kind of talking to each other, when he said, you have to know yourself before you can know others. It's all about taking care of others. You take care of you so you can take care of other people. And that's the point that this Catholic priest was saying. Like, you have to take care of you, right? You got to be healthy and wear your face mask and stay home and make sacrifices so that other people can be safe. And our society wasn't okay with that. We weren't okay about thinking about other people.
So to juxtapose that, then you had Delenn. God bless Delenn.
Yeah.
And you had Linear come in with the most Star Trek thing ever, who says, I'm going to go be with those people. And he's like, oh, you can't do that. And in Sheridan or someone says at the time, those are not your people, or they're not like you, or something like that. And there's this line, similarity is not needed to exercise compassion. Holy cow. And they open the door and they go in, not knowing if it could be spread to them or not, and not really caring, but they're there to do their job. And Minbari exists to serve what, Jeff? Others.
Others.
Not themselves, but others. Being the perfect example of how we should live and behave. And turns out the Minbari were not susceptible to this disease anyway. And they stood there in the middle of all of that and stayed with them literally till their dying breath. I mean, that's the way we should be. That's the way we should respond to others in plight. Now we're talking about being a Star Trek message here. 2 final thoughts and I'll give my rating. 1, this episode, I did AKAs back on Beam Me Up. If I could do an AKA for this episode title, it would be Dr. Franklin's Kobayashi Maru. Because that's exactly what this was. This was an unwinnable situation. How many times you're not going to win this. You're not going to win this. And dude had a great line when he said, "Oh, I didn't write it down, did I? Oh, I put it in somewhere." Anyway, Dr. Lorenzen says to Franklin, he says, "Everything with you is a test that needs to be passed." He's like, what if this is not really a problem to be solved, right? He said, what if this isn't a test to be passed, but it's really about seeing how you respond when you realize there is no right answer. There is no way to win, and to see how you respond. And Dr. Franklin went, ugh. And he said, screw it, I'm going to do it anyway. And like Jim Kirk said, I don't care. I don't believe in no-win scenarios. And he went to work and he figured out a way, not necessarily like cheating the way that Kirk did, but he figured out a way. But still in the end, he was too late. It turned out to be a no-win scenario because he couldn't even get that cure to the rest of the Markab population, as far as we know. Because the news report said that basically the entirety of the Markab people are gone, out of the universe, wiped out because of this thing. At least maybe he saved the Pakmara. I don't know. So I don't know how much more Star Trek you get than literally having a Kobayashi Maru as the theme of your show. But I loved his tenacity of, I don't care if it's a no-win scenario. I'm going to figure something out. The final one is the juxtaposition. There's my favorite word. The juxtaposition of Garibaldi versus the thugs. The thugs are beating the ever-loving pit snot out of that Markab. And Garibaldi comes in and throws them off and says to them, get out of here. No, we're not doing this. And after even with a moment of hesitation, which I think was a very human thing to do, right? He reaches down a hand and he extends a hand to help someone who very well might get him sick and have him killed, right? Garibaldi had all the right in the world to be just as mad at the Markab people as those guys that were beating him up. He had all the right in the world to be just as mad as I did and you did, Jeff, at people who refuse to wear a face mask or people who refuse to ever get a vaccine, as if they've never had a vaccine before in their life. You know what I mean? To be that upset, to have all the right in the world. But he was able to calm himself and extend a hand and say, I'm going to help you up. That is a Star Trek. This episode was replete with Star Trek messages. The only thing I don't know is if they were intending to deliver messages and make a commentary on their time. Maybe they were, maybe they weren't. I don't know. I don't know what this sets up for the overall story of Babylon 5, or if this is hey, we got 22 episodes, we got to fill them out. And let's do this one that actually seems to matter. I don't know which way it goes, but this was a Star Trek episode through and through. This is a 5 Delta Trek episode to me, all the way through.
Agreed. I think what is fascinating, and I had this exact same thoughts that you had, like, my God, it doesn't get more Star Trek than this, but it, like so many episodes that we've watched recently, it delivers the message in a very Babylon 5 way. Right. And Babylon 5 doesn't follow the Mary Poppins rule of a spoonful of sugar. It just shoves the medicine straight down your throat.
Right.
But I think one of the things that's interesting about Star Trek is, you know, one of Star Trek's big things it rails against is religion. You know, we've evolved past the needs for those mythologies that people follow. But the messages are so similar because that scene with Garibaldi was so powerful. That was Jesus with the lepers. That was the Good Samaritan, right? Who stopped on I think it was the path to Judea, and the Samaritan helped the Jew that was, made himself unclean to help. He was the only one that would do it.
Right.
It's such a powerful lesson, and I appreciate how Babylon 5 interweaves religion in a way that's complementary both to the message it's delivering and to the religion itself that I think does evolve, as we know more and stop sucking as human beings.
Right. So Jeff, you've got Star Furies. How do you give this one Star Furies? Usually we say Star Furies is kind of a how much do we enjoy this episode? Like how much did we like it? But you're right. This was a Star Trek message in a very Babylon 5 way, which makes it great. Right? Like I love that it's being delivered in a different way. But what do you give this on Star Furies?
I hate this episode. I hate it with a deep, deep passion, but I hate it not because it's a bad episode, because it's a great episode. It is so well done. It's poignant, done in a way only Babylon 5 could do this. I mean, this episode to me, right, back in season 1, they were still figuring out the characters and how are we going to tell a story in this space or whatever. And so they gave us Believers. Here's Believers. Right. Oh my God, what a horrible, great episode.
And they killed the kid.
Yeah. How dare they? Well, they did it again.
They killed the kid.
Because Brent, they're better at making TV now. And this time, they're like, hey, we're going to do Believers again, except now we're going to drop all pretense. Right now, it's just, hey, this is humanity, and you're terrible, and you keep being terrible, and it spreads across everything. And by the way, earlier you talked about the Markab. Markab had played a pretty prominent role throughout Babylon 5. They have not. They were the spokespeople for the League of Non-Aligned Worlds.
No, they were not.
More than once. When Jakar wanted to go after the Shadows, it was the Markab that stood up and had history with the Shadows and supported the vote to go and check out Zahadum, which was mentioned before. Like they have history. They're part of the whole thing. They killed an entire race. But I think it also balanced the stuff with Sheridan and the Delenn stuff, the romantic stuff with Delenn and John that I don't think I like very much. We'll see.
I'm warm to it. It just in the middle, like it was sweet and it was endearing. And I know I've kind of floated the whole idea of Garibaldi and Ivanova, and you're 100% right. Like that really doesn't need to be a thing that develops. But this whole Sheridan and Delenn thing, like maybe it's coming. Yeah.
I think it's going to happen. There's no doubt. In fact, like when she walked in to basically ask permission to go, and I'm just like, they're going to kiss. Oh my God, they're going to kiss. Here it comes.
But see, I think that Delenn and Sheridan are going to be far more Tom and B'Elanna than Odo and Kira.
Yes, that makes complete sense.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
For all you Star Trek folk out there who know what I'm talking about. Yeah.
But I think that this is one that, God, I gotta rate it.
This is Jeff delaying his rating, folks, because he's trying to figure it out.
Well, I'm trying to figure it out because this is a tough one. I think I've got it. This is a wildly important piece of TV. It was important in 1995 when we were still blaming the LGBTQ plus community for AIDS. It's important now where we're still blaming politicians. We're blaming politicians for COVID still today. My God, it's just, this is a 5-star Fury episode. This is as Babylon 5 as it gets. This was excellent television. This was amazing. And I say 5-star Furies, not just because of those reasons, but because like here it is a couple days after I've watched it, and I am still fired up and passionate about everything that happened in this episode.
This is an episode you mentioned you never want to see this episode again.
Yeah.
Or maybe you didn't say it. Maybe
because I'm living it. We're living this episode.
This was a great episode. I never want to watch it again. I do not like this episode. I hate this episode. It was a fantastic episode.
Yeah.
And I remember during our recap last year for season 1, the thing I said, and I think I said it about Believers, if you can make me feel something, you won. And like Schindler's List. I don't need to watch Schindler's List that often in my life. It is a must watch at least once. It is a fantastic film.
Yes.
You need to know it. You need to see it. But it's a hard watch. This episode's a hard watch. I don't know how this plays into where we've been as a season though. And I do confess I'm a little perturbed with the timing of this episode.
Yeah.
Because I really thought when we had that episode, it was a couple weeks ago. Which one was? Oh, In the Shadow of Zahadum.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, okay, they've had all their stuff to fill in the rest of the season. It is time to turn, and it's the redemption of Londo, and the shadows are coming, and the Great War is going to come upon us. And we've got 5 episodes left. This is what we're focusing on. I can't say that this feels like it's a part of that larger story at all.
So I think it does, just because it's the Markab, because they were such a key part. They referenced history with the shadows before, and you're like, what are you even talking about? I don't even know. But they did in a council meeting. They talked about having these.
But Jeff,
things
all of
before.
that could happen before In the Shadow of Zahadum.
It could have, but I think now, like, one of the big race, Delenn and Kosh both talked about needing to be ready, having everybody ready for the shadows. And we just wiped an entire race off not just the map, but the game board.
Yeah. And that's a good question. So what does this mean going forward, especially for the war that's to come, that we know is to come? Because
if you think about it, we've got Earth teasing itself, right? With all the problems that are happening there. We have the Centauri and the Narn straight up in war. We have the Minbari with massive political unrest. And now we have the Markab that don't even exist anymore. Like, if I was the shadows and looking to wipe out everybody, seems like time's pretty ripe.
Right. Well, Jeff, with that, it's a 5 Delta, 5 Star Fury kind of a day. I feel like we should have something that celebrates that.
Yeah, something.
You know, 'cause we don't often get a 5 and 5. 5 by 5. This is a 5 by 5 episode.
There we go. Yeah.
Well, with that being said, now we got to do the other thing where we are going to rank this episode, because Jeff and I are compiling through season 2 the absolute 100% completely accurate and definitive ranking of Babylon 5 season 2. So, Jeff, I'm going to leave it to you. The question is, where are you going to place Confessions and Lamentations? Our top 5 currently are The Coming of Shadows, A Race Through Dark Places, In the Shadow of Zahadum, Alone in the Night, Hunter Prey, Knives, and then it was 6, and then it goes on from there. Where do you place? And I want to challenge you with this, Jeff, while you're thinking about your placement. Base this on the quality of episode. A lot of times I think when we get in there, we use this litmus test of which episode do I want to watch again to place it. This one cannot fit into that litmus test. Like, this is an outlier.
Right.
That is the strength of the episode is going to be very independent from the enjoyment of the episode.
I'm enjoying your campaigning for the ranking right now, but
I'm not trying to push it higher.
But no, you're exactly right. It's got to be about more than that, because it's not just the top 5 or top 10 or whatever that Jeff and Brent like. This is an important episode. This is the ranking of season 2 Babylon 5.
Yeah.
And when I look back, like, I'm looking back at our season 1 ranking that we did, and Believers was a top 10 episode for us out of season 1. And this is the more mature.
TKO was really high, not because TKO was a particularly well executed episode. In fact, it's quite derided and it deserves so much of its derision, but because of what it actually did and what it said and the quality of an episode and how they wove that story together. And if you guys don't know what I'm talking about, if you just laughed and said, what, TKO? Yes, seriously. We had TKO at number 4. And you guys should go back and listen to that to understand exactly why we put it there, because there's reasons that it's there. Jeff went on another podcast and defended TKO when they were trying to slam it into the ground a bunch of months ago.
And I will continue to do so. It's funny, you were looking at that, and I was kind of looking through my notes and the other rankings here. And I actually have this note getting ready for the rankings here. I said, remember, Jeff, our ranking isn't just about which ones are our favorites. So we're on the same boat. So when I look at our top 10 so far for this season, oh my God, yeah, no question, this episode's going to drop in there. Mm-hmm. And looking at it, I'm immediately going to put it, where's the line? I'm going to put it above Points of Departure for sure.
Okay.
So let me start looking there.
Soulmates was the one with Londo and his wives,
which was a lot of
silly fun. But is this better than silly fun?
So, God, this is tough. I think I'm even going to put this one. I'm going to go. The
correct answer is yes. It is better than silly fun.
Yes, correct. Right. Okay, I've got it. This is going to go. So I've got it. I'm arguing with Hunter Prey, All Alone in the Night. So looking in 4 and 5 right now. And frankly, All Alone in the Night did so much to advance and set up what we've now learned about the Vorlon and how Sheridan is going to work with them. It's an important episode, and it was a really well done episode. Yeah, I'm going to put this one above Hunter Prey, below All Alone in the Night. This is our number 5.
So what was Hunter Prey?
Hunter Prey was where Dr. Socrates was running from President Clark, and then was, hostaged by Bull Shannon and all that. That was a good episode.
That was a great episode. This one is more important than that episode. Yeah. But I think it runs in that realm. But I think you're right. I think you're absolutely right to say this episode right now, as we sit, doesn't feel like it's going to have a huge major impact on the overall story. Maybe it does. We don't know. Don't tell us, folks. Please don't tell us. But there is this episode certainly has a lot to say, and I think it deserves that placement. So I'm in agreement with you at number 5, and it doesn't matter because you get to place this one, and I can't argue.
It's the danger of the game. Well, Brent, that's it for Confessions and Lamentations. If you're still here with us after all of that, thank you. But next week, we're going to be watching Divided Loyalties for the first time. As Brent said at the beginning of the episode, one of the games we play is that we don't look these up. We don't read what it's going to be about. We don't look at pictures. We have no idea. Brent literally just heard the title of the episode for the first time. So we like to guess what it's going to be about. Brent, what do you think Divided Loyalties is going to be about?
This has to get back to the war. This has to get back to the Narn Centauri War specifically. And I think this is Londo. I've been hankering for a good Londo redemption episode. Now we saw back in, was it Knives or There Lies All the Honor?
Knives was the last time we saw Londo and his buddy.
But we saw Londo, everything cracked with Londo. And he's like, no, I'm really questioning what's going on here. I don't know what's happening. And this is an episode about Londo. And is he loyal to the Centauri and this war, or is he loyal to what is right and what is correct and to peace? What is Londo's loyalty that is divided? And I think that's what this one is about.
That sounds good. I think this is going to get back to Earth and all the Earth stuff that's going on. In fact, you know who we haven't seen in a while?
Bester.
Well, that's along the same. Talia Winters.
Oh, yeah.
Talia.
Didn't we just see her? Didn't we?
Yeah. So I think this is going to move. This is going to be build off of the Night Watch stuff that she went through.
Okay.
Psychor is going to be encouraging her to join Night Watch and be a part of it. That's going to raise her suspicions already, and ours as well, about what Night Watch and Psychor are. And then she's going to lean on Ivanova for support, right? This is where Talia kind of has to decide, is she Psychor or is she not?
Ooh. Okay. Interesting. So Talia has to decide, is she Psychor or not?
That's her divided loyalty.
That's a good divided loyalty one, too.
I think it's when they set up a while ago, right? When she had that Psychor badge sitting on the bureau. Yeah.
When she took it off and with Ivanova. Yeah, this one's, oh man, that could set up a lot of stuff with her.
Totally.
That could set up a whole lot of stuff with her.
Put her on the run, or it could turn her into an unwilling villain.
Jeff. Is it possible? Legit. Oh my! If this comes out, people are going to be like, "There's no way."
Brent's flexing his superpower right now.
I am. Okay. In the Gathering, there were 2 characters that got recast. Talia recast one of those characters. Lita
Alexander.
Is that what it was?
I think.
I want to say Lita because it's a Deep Space Nine name, I think is why it jumps out to me. But I think it was Lita. And I remember they recast her for no good reason. I would love to see Dr. Kyle come back into this and, slap Franklin around a little bit. But is it possible? So just track your thing. If Talia goes in and she goes rogue in Psychor is going to have to send a new person back to Babylon 5.
And it's
Lita. And because remember we commented on that, the idea they didn't kill these characters. They just shelved them. Right? Could Lita Alexander come back?
Well, and here's what's even more,
the one who's coming after Talia.
And what's even more
they go on
fascinating,
a run
right? What's even more fascinating about that is we now know that Kosh is a first one. The Vorlons are first ones. The reason she got reassigned storyline wise is because she mind scanned Kosh and she knows that.
It would be so much better than just introducing a new. Or the other thing. And I don't know if he becomes a main cast member, but the way people talk about Bester as being in this show, I get the feeling he's more like Q, like he just turns up a handful of times. And when you look at how many times he's actually shown up, it's actually surprisingly little because he's such a big part of the show. But what if Jeff? What if Bester gets assigned to Babylon 5 and he's the new guy?
Wow, they upgrade, right? We have a Psychop on here now,
right?
Big. Because here's what I would hate if it's Lita Alexander. I'm going to own this now because this is Brent Allen making the call. So there's like a 90% chance you're right. But this is why I would be mad. You know how many people I've argued with on YouTube, on Twitter, by email where they're like, hey, there's this random interview with the actor who played Lita Alexander where she said that they totally ripped off Deep Space Nine. And I'm like, dude, she was in one episode that didn't as a pilot. If she shows up again, I'm going to be a jerk. So, especially if she becomes a regular. So, I'm hoping for the 10%.
I think, because I have been looking quietly in the back of my head. I haven't talked about it a whole lot, but there's been because we saw Sinclair come back.
Yeah.
Yeah, that one thing. Like these characters that because we know JMS builds these trapdoors in. Well, he's saving characters. So
maybe. And
I remember liking Lita. I don't understand why they recast her.
It's probably I would bet a lot of money it was a scheduling issue.
Oh, okay.
Because they didn't know it was gonna. It was a year, and that's why part of why Takashima went too.
Yeah.
Well, and to steal a line that came from somebody a while ago on the trapdoor thing, they had a literal trapdoor for Kodoth. It was just happened to be an airlock that she went out of. Right. And then got replaced by awesome Natoth, who was then replaced by the terrible version we have now. Well, Brent,
I would like to give her the Kodoth treatment.
Seriously, yeah, line me up. I'll do it. Well, we're going to find out what Divided Loyalties is going to be about here next week. Thank you all so much for joining us, and I hope that you derived some value from our conversation today. I know I did. Brent, thank you for the talk today. This was actually we talked some real stuff.
Yeah.
So thank you for that. Don't forget to subscribe wherever you're listening, wherever you're watching, and stop by Apple Podcasts. Leave us a rating, review. We'll read it right here on the podcast. Brent, until next time.
Hey, Jeff.
Yeah, Brent.
Whenever we get to these endings, it always seems like you feel like this is I'm going to test you. Just trying to see if you can pass the test. What if this really isn't about passing a test, but rather is seeing how you respond when you realize that you're never going to win at this?
Wow, man. Peace and long life.
This is my first time.
Whew.
There we go.
That's a lot.
YouTube. This was, you know what? This was a rough recording. The subject matter was rough.
It was hard.
It was tough.
Hard.
But you know, like I had distractions coming in. Yes, we're not in our normal time slot that you and I are doing. You changed cameras at some point in the middle.
I did. My camera gave me some like heat warning all of a sudden. I'm like, what? Oh, yikes.
Yeah, be careful with that. You know, I mentioned earlier I'm a person of faith. Maybe there's something out there that was like, hey, I'm going to fight you a little bit on this one.
Maybe.
I don't know. Maybe. I don't know. Hey, listen.
That said, Xfinity worked with us the whole time. I didn't have any connection issues, so they weren't working that hard.
Right. Hey, listen, they didn't go for the easy part.
Yeah.
YouTube guys, thank you so much. Club 65, you guys rock. Jeff, I will be incredibly interested to see here in a couple of days if any numbers go down.
Yeah.
Which, like, I'm okay with. And I really want them to stick around, like, not for numbers wise, but because, like, those are the people that need this show.
They need this. Absolutely. Yeah. But I also think, and you said it so well, it's become so politicized.
That's all.
Now it's a personal attack.
Yeah. And honestly, had the politicians in charge at the time flip-flopped, I truly believe that the community response, it would be the same, just flip-flopped.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I truly believe that. So anyway, hey guys, we're going to get out of here for now. I think we've given you more than enough, especially since we don't edit. So Club 65, you guys are awesome. We'll see you next time.
See ya.